First of all, let's get straight down to the reason you clicked this video. This one cost $26 and weighs 86 grams. This one cost me $345 and weighs 84 grams. So it should be a no-brainer, right? Well, it's not quite as simple as that. Let's have a look why. So saddles, they're a very, very personal thing, and what works for someone else may not work for you. It takes quite a lot of experimenting and trying different saddles to find one that you really like. Some people are really fussy about the saddles, whereas some people, like myself, can pretty much ride anything without much discomfort. The best way really is just to experiment and try more saddles. Obviously, the best way is to borrow them from your friends or go for a bike fit where they may have some saddles for you to try. Obviously, at $345 US, just buying one of these to find out it doesn't fit you very well wouldn't be great. Whereas these guys, $26, you can get some even cheaper. You know, you try it, if you hate it, it's not the end of the world. So that is one advantage of these cheaper saddles. Now, a super important thing when we're talking about saddles is going to be your rider weight, for two reasons. Number one, if you're a lighter rider, the lack of padding is going to be less of an issue. So me personally, I'm only 51 kilograms. I can ride something like this with no padding pretty much all day, even without bib shorts on, and it won't really give me much aggro. But I notice even if I carry a backpack, a 5 kilogram backpack or a 10 kilogram backpack, the saddle becomes a lot less comfortable. Now, the second reason that you're gonna be a bit better off being a lighter rider is because these saddles often come with weight limits. So BERK, they put a 100 kilogram limit on their saddle, and basically just a lot less wear and tear on the saddle, and also less likely for it to fail. So as always, when buying carbon parts, when buying bike parts, buy at your own risk. Whether it's Chinese or not Chinese, there is always a risk of component failure. If it does fail, you may get injured, yada, yada, yada. I am not responsible for your injuries. One other thing of these super light saddles, usually super light saddles come with carbon rails, and carbon rails are actually usually oval shaped. So they're usually 7 millimeters wide by 9 millimeters tall, as opposed to traditional steel or metal rails where they're a 7 millimeter cylinder. And what this means is, if you have the kind of seat post clamp that clamps from the sides, then they're designed for a 7 millimeter tall rail, and your 9 millimeter tall rail just isn't going to fit in. Now, many brands that have these kind of saddle clamps, they will offer 9 millimeter tall options for your saddle, but again, it's something to be aware of when you buy your saddle. I think on my Alley Sprint back here, to get the adapter to take a carbon rail on that seat post, it cost me like $25 or $30 US. Windspace also have one for their T1500. When you order your frame, if you're going to be using a carbon railed saddle, tell them when you order and they'll swap it for you for free. So let's take a closer look at these two saddles, starting with the BERK. So this one is not my personal saddle, but it cost 285 euros, I think, which is $345 US. This is the 150 millimeter wider version, which is why I don't use it, because too wide for me. They are handmade in Slovenia in the EU. So if you're ordering within the EU, you know you're not gonna have to pay any taxes. If you're from the UK like me, then sorry, Brexit, So BERK have a few different saddles. I believe this one is called the Lupina, and this is, like I say, the unpadded version. Claimed weight on the website was 84 grams. I put it on the scales and it was 84 grams on the dot. I think aesthetically it's a very pleasing design. You've got the UD carbon. There's also a 3K version, I think. And here across the bridge, we've got a piece of 3K carbon fiber with a nice subtle BERK logo. Very nice piece of kit indeed. Having a relief channel in the middle. I think there's two advantages. Number one, obviously less pressure on your junk, but also a lot easier to install the saddle like this. Lots of seat posts require you to do up the Allen bolt from the top, and this makes it a lot easier. This is the super light version, the unpadded version. Again, like I said, fine for me. I have no problem riding unpadded saddles, but if you are a heavier rider, you might want something with the padding. So in summary, $345 US and 84 grams. Again, I think the slightly thinner version, the 135 milliliter version, is a claimed weight of 79 grams, so even lighter still. Now, on the other side, we have this, the TREH. And no, I'm not infected with coronavirus. It's called the TREH, not the TREH. T-R-E-H, with a bit of a font that makes the H look a bit like a K. I'm gonna say I'm not a fan of that. I don't like brands trying to piggyback another brand's fame. You know, make your own brand and just, you know, do your own thing. But I bought this on Taobao, which is the Chinese equivalent of kind of like eBay. It cost me 168 renminbi, including shipping, which is about 26 US dollars. I believe it came from Dongguan. There's lots of cheap carbon fiber factories over there. And yeah, apparently it's made from T800 carbon fiber. Maybe. I hear these days that all of the cheaper carbon fiber factories in China, they no longer have access to legitimate TREH carbon fiber. So who knows? If you don't know, TREH is a Japanese carbon fiber manufacturer. Most people think that carbon fiber manufacturers for the bike industry, they say Japanese like carbon is the best, and then maybe Korean carbon is the next tier down, and then carbon from Taiwan is one layer lower, and then carbon from mainland China is the other layer below that. And I'm not talking about the factories where it's put together. I'm just talking about the actual carbon. Aesthetically, maybe not the prettiest design in the world. It looks like it's been like overly smoothed in the 3D software or other, but it is comfortable. You can see there's quite a lot of wear on this saddle, and that's because I've been riding this as my personal saddle on my Windspace SLC for a few months now, and my ass really gets on well with this saddle. For me, it's really comfy. I can sit pretty far back, I can sit pretty far forwards, and it's all pretty comfy. Again, a relief channel in the middle to keep some weight off your nether regions. It's not an actual hole, but it sinks down enough that, you know, the blood can flow. Unlike the BERK, there is no weight limit listed, also no torque limits or anything. Also in the item description, there was no weight limit listed. I don't think it's because it's so strong that it has no weight limit. I just think it's probably because they don't really know what the weight limit is. I looked at the reviews from other buyers and no one had complained that it had broken yet. And if you give it a good squeeze and a good pull, like I'd say the rails feel as sturdy as the BERK. I don't want to pull the BERK too much at $350, but this one, yeah, it feels sturdy. But the saddle did come unfinished. And what do I mean by that? So in the pictures, it was a matte saddle with these glossy logos. And again, if you don't know, the way they usually do a matte finish on carbon is, first of all, they paint it with a glossy clear coat, and then they'll buff the glossy clear coat into a matte finish. And so how they do that on this is they make it a glossy finish, and then they put little masks over for the logos, buff the whole thing down, and then when they take the masks off, the logos are still glossy and the rest of it has been buffed matte. But when I got this saddle, it was matte with blue logos, and I was thinking, I didn't order something with blue logos. And then I realized, oh wait, no, these blue logos are actually the mask that hasn't been taken off. So again, it's a 1-minute job to peel off these masks, but again, this is the difference between a $20 saddle and a $300 saddle. The $20 saddle, you kind of have to finish it yourself. Again, with the Chinese stuff, often their item descriptions are a bit rounded up, let's say, but this had a claimed weight of 85 grams plus or minus 2 grams, and mine came in at 86 grams or 86.6 grams thereabouts. So yeah, within their tolerances, so not bad. So let's talk about quality. Like I say, it came unfinished, but the quality of the thing, I've been using this for 4 or 5 months now, pretty much every day, multiple times a day. Obviously, I'm only 51 kilos, but you know, you hit speed bumps, I have my saddle bag on the back, blah, blah, blah. It hasn't given me any signs of weakening or slowing. I also rock a whole bunch of other Chinese saddles. They've all been no problem. I haven't had a failure yet. If you poke around the internet or whatever, do your research, see what you can see, but I didn't, in my opinion, a saddle is a pretty simple construction. It's not that hard to get it right. And again, I don't want people assuming that, Chinese carbon is somehow more likely to break or whatever. If we have a look at the BERK, if you go around the internet, if you go on weight wieners, you will find reports of people breaking these, either breaking the rails or the rails coming unbonded from the saddle. I think Rides of Japan, I think his broke as well. But I do think Drewer, who is the owner of BERK, I believe, he's pretty good about getting in touch with you, or if you get in touch with him, I've heard he is good at getting you a free replacement saddle. So that is, that's customer service. That's what your brand is all about. But again, you could break this and buy 9 more and still be ahead of this. But it is nice to know that when you do pay the money, you are getting that guarantee. But the guarantee and the new saddle isn't going to help you if, as a result of your saddle breaking, you crash. Again, I've not heard about that happening with either the BERK or the cheapy ones. Usually if a saddle breaks, I don't think it's going to result in a crash because you'll feel it break and you've got those pedals to stand on still. But again, safety first, kids. So what's the conclusion? What should you do with your hard-earned money? If you're the kind of person that money is no object, first of all, can we be friends? But second of all, I think, yeah, you can go for the BERK. You're supporting a good business, a guy who's building his own brand, unique design. He's put the time into it. If it does go wrong, you're going to be able to get in touch with him and hopefully get yourself a replacement. However, if you're like me and money does not grow on trees, then I think that the cheapy Chinese saddles are a good option. Again, this one is branded as a TREH, but I've seen many different ones around the internet. I'll put some links below, or I'll put some names on this page of stuff for you to search for of the ones I've tried. I will say avoid the fake saddles. So, you'll find some fake physiques, you'll find some fake whatevers. I'd say avoid those. Number one, I don't really think fakes help the industry as a whole. And number two, if it's a fake physique, the factory literally has no care if it breaks or not. Because if it breaks, then it's not their brand name that's going to be damaged. It's going to be the physique brand name, which isn't theirs. Whereas this TREH, even though it's not, the most glamorous brand name in the world, it's at least their brand name. And if people on the internet start saying, don't buy TREH saddles, they're trash, then that's going to affect them. So they've got motivation to actually quality control the stuff and make decent stuff. So I think cheap is good, but fakey fake, bad. And well, if you're still thinking, but you're only 50 kilos, what about me? I'm 80 kilos, I'm 90 kilos, which one should I get, blah, blah, blah. To be honest, if you're 80 or 90 kilos, I don't think you should be looking at super light saddles. Like, saving 40 or 50 grams on a saddle is not gonna make a difference if you're an 80, 90 kilogram rider. Just get something sturdier with metal rails, with padding, and don't worry about it. Save this stuff for the skinny guys, and next time you see them in a sprint, just leave them in your dust and be happy knowing that you don't give a crap about 50 grams. So anyway, I hope this little video helped. If you have any questions about these saddles, or if you've had any experience with these saddles, again, in the comments down below. The BERK, again, it's too big for me, so I don't think I'll be using it, but it is a nice looking thing. If I'm taking photos of a bike or something, I want it to look nice, I'll pop this one on for that. But for now, I think I'm gonna keep riding the TREH. If you've liked this video, if you want to see some more videos like this, then make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also give this video a thumbs up, and that will let YouTube know that you like this video, and will give you more videos like it, and let other people help find this video too. So come on, help me out. I've got more similar videos coming comparing cheap Chinese stuff to expensive Western stuff, so make sure you don't miss those. And as always, China Cycling out.